Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF Hayomi Maseches Bava Kamma DAF Chav Daled. We got up to the 13th line off the top of the Amud. So when a shor is noigeach, initially when a shor who is presumed to be tame, restrained, he goes ahead and he expresses aggressive behavior. The owner is not expecting it, and therefore he's not held accountable to the point that he would have to pay full damages. Rather, he only pays chatzi nezek, 50%. But once the shor becomes a mu'ad, becomes habitualized, it becomes second nature, and the owner is put on notice. Look, your animal is exhibiting aggressive behavior. Go ahead and keep it under lock and key. Restrain it. Watch it. From this point going forward, the shor is called a mu'ad. Mu'ad is connected to Lashon Eidus. As we're going to see in the Gemara, we have to have two witnesses in front of Bezdin who warn the owner, look, your shor is Einoi Geach. He's been doing this over and over. Watch him. So once the owner has been put on notice, if he fails to watch his shor this time around, his ox goes and gores, he's fully accountable, fully responsible, nezek shalem, 100%. Now, how does one transition from a tam to a muad? How many times does he have to exhibit this type of behavior to establish this track record to be labeled a muad? We have a machlekes in the Mishnah. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's day related, meaning he was negeach one day, and then another day, and then another day, not necessarily consecutive days, but they're spaced, in which case we have good reason to believe that this shor, it wasn't just that he was gripped with a craze, with a sudden mood. This is him. This is his second nature right now. That's how he becomes a muad. So it's totally in days. And how does he sort of fall back? How does he cancel that status? When he fails to do this for 3 days. So 3 days gets you in and 3 days gets you out. That's Rabbi Yehuda's shita. According to Rabbi Meir, it's not totally in days. It's totally in episodes. So he gored 3 times, whether it's 3 times in 3 days or 3 times in 1 day. He has now established himself as a muad, and how does he revert from that status? So the Mishnah says, well, the kids are playing with him and he does not exhibit aggressive behavior. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's totally in days. According to Rabbi Meir, you become a muad by 3 episodes and you leave the muad status by acting gently. Here come 2 more shittas. 13 lines off the top on Chav Daled Amud Aleph. Tana Rabban Eizeh muad. How do you become a muad? Kol she'idu by shloisha yamim. So he did it 3 days. For 3 days, he was goring. So it's days that make him a muad. V'tam. How do you become back a tam? Oh, shiyu atinoikes mimash mishin boiven negeach tiv Rabbi Yossi. Kids play with him playfully without any issues. So basically, Rabbi Yossi picked one element of Rabbi Yehuda. You become a muad by goring for 3 days, and he picked one element of Rabbi Meir. How do you leave the muad status? By being gentle with the kids. Rabbi Shimon took the other 2 elements of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir. You become a muad like Rabbi Meir. You leave muad like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon Omer muad means kol she'idu bo shalosh pa'amim. So he did it 3 times, whether it's on the same day or 3 separate days. When we speak about 3 days, elo lechazor v'lvad, that pertains to leaving the muad status. So he picked Rabbi Meir's in and Rabbi Yehuda's out. When it comes to becoming a muad, we follow Rabbi Yehuda. It's totally in 3 days. Why? Because we have Rabbi Yossi who follows his shita. And how do you become a tam again? We follow Rabbi Meir, acting gently with the kids. Why? Because once again, Rabbi Meir in this aspect has the support of Rabbi Yossi. So, in like Rabbi Yehuda and out like Rabbi Meir. Amalei Rav Nachman. So he asked the kasha. Let him say, Halach Rabbi Meir b'muad. Why do you say, Rabbi Nachman, that in like Rabbi Yehuda, out like Rabbi Meir? What about in like Rabbi Meir, out like Rabbi Yehuda? Halach Rabbi Meir b'muad. When it comes to becoming a muad, you follow Rabbi Meir 3 times. Sharei Rabbi Shimon loyed, because he has Rabbi Shimon on his side. Halach Rabbi Yehuda b'tam. How do you leave the muad status? We follow Rabbi Yehuda. 3 innocent days. Sharei, why? Sharei Rabbi Shimon loyed, because in that context, Rabbi Shimon is on his side. He says like this. There's a reason why I favor Rabbi Yossi's approach. Anok Rabbi Yossi severely, I follow Rabbi Yossi. The Rabbi Yossi Nimuka Imo. Rabbi Yossi is known to always come with an explanation, a good reason, a good basis for his opinion. In which case, we adopt that shita. Now, according to Rabbi Yehuda, he needed to be negeach 3 times in 3 days, right? So it's a matter of days. Why do we need separate days? Iboilu. So the Gemara wanted to know like this: Shloisha yomim titani. This spacing requirement, this 3-day requirement. What's the point? Is it for Shloisha yomim titani liyudei Torah, to enable the Torah, the ox, to establish himself as an aggressive wild ox? So lest you think it was just a sudden, passing mood. No, it's happened once, and another day, and another day. You see, this is him. Is that the point? So spacing is necessary to indicate to us that in fact it's been internalized into his repertoire. Or perhaps the point is simply that you want to give the owner a chance. You want to put him on notice. You can't just come crashing into him on one day and say, well, your ox is the wildest animal, though. We're putting him to death, or you pay nezek shalom. No, that's not fair. You have to give the owner an opportunity. Look, watch out, look what he's doing. Okay, so now he has the opportunity to, has a chance to put himself together and look after his animal. So giving him that space, that time, is simply, out of fairness sake to the owner. So is it focusing on the animal or the owner? What's the difference between this or that? Imagine 3 kitei, 3 pairs, 3 groups of Edom. One pair speaking about that the share was negeach on Sunday. The other one speaking about Monday's episode. The other one on Tuesday. And they all 3 are coming b'chad yom on one day, on the same day. And they're coming to inform, to report to the owner, look what happened to your share on Sunday, on Monday, on Tuesday. So very nice, thank you, but you're telling me all about that today. So now, if the point is to establish that the shor has adopted this, wild behavior, so miyayit, you have a mood. You've accomplished the mood, because after all, it's been Sunday and Monday and Tuesday over and over again. You have an established mood. However, if the point is to, give the owner a chance to put himself together, loy miyayit, in this case, he's not going to be a muad. Why? Because he can argue and say, look, you're coming to me just on one shot. Now you're coming to testify and inform me? Give me some time. I understand it's an ongoing thing, but it's the first time I heard of it. So which way is it? Is it for the shor or for the owner? May. Tashma, let's try to prove it from the following halach. Ein asher nasa muad. The only way to make a shor muad is as follows. Achi ideboy, ifnei balim, ifnei bezdin. 2 conditions. The owner has to be informed in front of bezdin. He ideboy ifnei bezdin, shalei ifnei balim. Bezdin was informed, but the owner wasn't there. Or ifnei balim, shalei ifnei bezdin. The other way, the owner knew, but not the bezdin. Ein nasa muad. This doesn't constitute a muad until both are present. Achi ideboy ifnei bezdin, ifnei balim. The owner and bezdin are both there. Now, Haidu Shnai Barishayna. We have a pair of Edom that are coming to testify regarding Sunday's episode. Okay, so far he pays Chatzi Nezek, it's just a tam. Ushnai B'Shniya, another 2 Edom for Monday's episode. So far, he's only a tam, twice. Ushnai B'Shlishis. And now we have another pair of Edom on Tuesday. Okay? And as Rashi explains, at this point, he should be paying nezek sholem. We're going to that shita. That's Rabbi's shita. Third time you pay nezek sholem. So now we have one pair for Sunday, one pair on Monday, one pair on Tuesday. Harei kan sholosh eduyos. So really, these are three separate, pairs of edim. Rashi says, meaning, let's say one of these pairs becomes batel, becomes cancelled for some reason, disqualified. It doesn't affect the other edim because they're three separate, testimonies, unrelated to each other. Even though the sum total of all the three testimonies equals. It basically it triggers the tam status, which triggers full accountability. That's true, but the fact is, each one has his own story to say. So if one becomes sort of disqualified, the other two pairs still are valid. And with respect to the halacha of azama, which basically means plotters, right? Edim will come testify about something about somebody. In this case, that is ox gored. He has to pay nezek sholem. Turns out that just fabricating the story. Another two edim come and say, "Well, what are you talking about? You're testifying about a story in this place and this time. You're with us at that time in a different location." So now they become edim zaymin, and they have to compensate their potential victim for anything they intended on, harming him, whether it's financial or otherwise. In this case, it's financial because they intended on obligating him to pay for this, never happened, episode, whether it's chatzi nezek, or in this case where they ganged up and ultimately they were going to bring him to nezek sholem, they have to pay that much. So with respect to the hazama on the muad status, well, these three pairs of edim, total of 6 edim, are really ganging up together. It's really one team with respect to generating the muad status. So if you want to make them edim zaymin, you have to make all 6 of them, all 3 pairs of edim zaymin. That's the halacha. You can't just be mazim, part of a group. So again, with respect to the chatzi nezek obligation, each pair stands alone. With respect to his story, which really generates only chatzi nezek. But the fact is, the sum total of all their edus gets him to the muad status, nezek sholem. But it turns out that their edim zaymin, they all have to pay, compensating for that extra that they wanted to bring him to, right? So basically, each pair is responsible for 50% of their episode, right? This pair spoke about damage of 100. It turns out that they're liars. They have to pay $50, which is what he would have paid as per the Tom rate. Second pair as well. The third pair really concluded the system. They basically turned them into a muad. So now all 3 pairs of edim are really plotting to get into that 100% markup on the third time around. So if it turns out that they're all zaymimin, all of them, you can't just go with par. They all have to become zaymimin together. Then they're all responsible to compensate, for that. They have to all share that extra $50, the difference between chatzi nezek and nezek shalom on the third episode. Because after all, they were all trying to make him a muad. Okay? Now, nimtzis kas rishon is a memes. Let's say it turns out that Sunday's edim azaymimin. Harekan shtei edu. So we still have Monday's edus and Tuesday's edus, which does not suffice to make him a muad and obligate him nezek shalom. So v'hu pater. So the owner of the animal is pater, meaning he's not yet going to pay nezek shalom because his share is not a muad. It turns out that the Sunday's edim are non-existent. V'hem turim, likewise, the edim zaymin don't have to pay, the extra $50 because he's not turning into a muad. Now, even though they wanted to contribute into making this share into a muad, but as we explained, with respect to turning him into a muad, you need all 3 pairs of edim, and only one pair became a muad that has edim zaymin. So only they are edim zaymin. That's not enough. It's only part of a team. So, with respect to the chatzi nezek that the first pair wanted to inflict on the owner, of course that they pay. That's their own personal, presentation. They're zaymimin, they're plotters, they pay that. But the extra $50, which they would have generated, were they to have been accepted as edim, together with the second pair and the third pair, they would have turned the animal to a muad and generated an extra payment of nezek shalom on the last negicha. That never happened because they were zaymimin, and only they were zaymimin. So since they're part of a team, and the entire team was not yet Edom Zayman, so there's no Hazama on that aspect. Okay. Nimtzis Kas Shnia Zaymimis. Let's just go down the list. So now, let's say Monday's Edom becomes Zaymimin. Same story. Harikan Edus Achas. We still have another sort of, at this point, assumed to be a valid pair. Tuesday's Edom regarding Tuesday's episode. V'hu Potter. So the owner's Potter from Nezek Shalom because his share is not a muad. Likewise, the Edom Zayman are Potter from paying that Nezek Shalom aspect because only part of the team became Zayman. But here comes the punchline. Nimtzis Kas Shlishis Zaymemis. Turns out not only Sundays Edom are Zayman, not only Mondays, even Tuesdays. So all 6 are Zayman. Now they have to pay up the extra bit that they wanted to up it. They want to upgrade it to a muad. They have to all contribute and pay that $50. Kulan Chayavin. You do to the plotters as they had plotted to do to this victim. End of story. Now, what does this pertain to us with respect to our question? Again, what was our question? Spacing. We need 3 separate episodes on 3 separate days. Why? Is it to give the owner a chance, or is it to really establish that the animal, this is his thing? Now, with respect to this story with the Edom Zayman, he amrsli ude tura shaper. If the point is, if the objective is to establish the shoyer's behavior, so even if it all happens, all the Edom come and inform us on the same day, right, about what happened Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It works, shaper. The shoyer becomes a muad. That explains the halacha here about Edom Zayman. As Rashi explains, why are they all responsible? First pair, second pair, third pair. After all, first pair was just speaking about the first episode. He's not on board by just scoring once. Likewise, the second pair can say the same. So the answer is because, as Rashi explains, the third, party sort of brought all these Edom together to Bezdin on Wednesday, alleging, look, here we have 2 Edom about Sunday. Here's another 2 Edom on Monday. Here's a third pair about Tuesday. Look, turns out it's all falsified and fabricated. But this was his, presentation. He's bringing them all together on Wednesday, alleging that 3 separate episodes happened on 3 separate days. But he's bringing them all on one day. Why do we need them to bring them all on one day? So Rashi says, otherwise you can't hold, Sunday's pair of Edom responsible for trying to turn this fellow into a muad. Because they came on Sunday. They had no idea there's going to be another pair of Edom on Monday and on Tuesday. So why are you considering us responsible for turning this animal to a muad? We had no idea this was going to happen. We didn't know we were part of this whole, plot. So if they have to come separately, they can claim that they had no idea. Evidently, they all came together, and they knew full and well what was happening. They were brought together by this, fabricator. Sunday's pair, Monday's pair, Tuesday, they all knew what they were being called for. Therefore, they all carried equal responsibility with respect to the, halach of Edom Zayman and compensating him for trying to make him a muad. But if the point of spacing is to give the owner a chance to get himself together, and it has to come separately, with ample time in between. 1 pair on Sunday has to show up, 1 pair has to show up on Monday, 1 on Tuesday. You can't just bunch them all together. So now, what do you want from Sunday's Edom? I understand they weren't the most erlich Yidden, they were trying to obligate him to pay, how much? Chatzi Nezek. We had no idea that you're going to pair us up with more Edom to get him to Nezek Shalem. Leim Ranach Kamma, so the first pair can say, look, first pairs, Anon mi'ab yadinon. We had no clue. The boss of Shloisha Yoimu Asuhane Mi'adilei. Did we know that, 3 days' time you're going to have another pair of Edom, and make him a muad? What do you want from us? So evidently, they're all being brought together on the same day because that also works. And that proves our shaila. The point is just to establish the shur, and once you've established that it happened 3 days in a row, even if the owner was only informed today for the first time, it works. That's the only way to explain this halacha. Amar Ashi. So Rashi responds, it's not so simple. Amrita l'shmata kamei Rav Kahana. I discussed this halacha to Rav Kahana. V'amar li, he responded to me, will you do tura minicha? And even if you say the point is to establish the nature of the animal, why does that help us? So let's say, granted, all 6 Edom were brought by this fabricator, this alleged victim of this shur. He brought all these Edom together on Wednesday, right? But let's say the last pair of Edom, the ones that are testifying about allegedly what happened on Tuesday, they can claim, look, we still had no idea. Anan menayat inan. I understand Sunday's pair cannot claim this because they know why is he bringing us into Bezdin on Wednesday? Why is Tuesday's victim bringing Sunday's Edom that are coming to testify about a shur that was negeh somebody else's animal? Why is this fellow bringing us in? Why does that pertain to him? Why is it relevant to him? Why does he have an interest in us coming to him? Oh, apparently because he's bundling us up with everybody else. He has another pair for Monday, another pair for Tuesday. That's why he's bringing us in as well, because he wants to sort of make us part of his plot, to turn the shur into a muad so he can get fully paid. So the first Edom know that this fellow's interest is merely nefarious. He has ulterior motive. He has a bad plan. But the Edom that are testifying about Tuesday's story, they're innocent. We know why he's bringing us into Bezdin, because he wants us to testify and help him get Chatzi Nezek. They have no idea that there are other Edom waiting on the wings regarding Sunday and Monday's stories. The last Edom can say, look, Anan, we have no clue. We see people standing in the Bezdin. We have no idea they're coming to contribute to the story. Everybody in Bezdin is coming to testify about an ox running amok. Also coming to testify about a wild animal. I understand we're not the most honest people, but at least you can't, accuse us of trying to get him to pay Nezek Shalom. We were just trying to get him to pay Chatzei Nezek for one story. The Gemara Ramzi Ramuzi says the Gemara. No, all these guys were like sort of winking to each other. They were all in cahoots. They all knew about each other, and they knew that they're all teaming up on this man and going to bring him to Nezek Shalom. So of course they're responsible. Ramashi Amar, another answer. They came very close to each other. They walked in, another pair. You knew that it's a team. Ravina Amar, here's another terrorist to discuss. They can claim, innocent. B'makirin ba'al ashur ve'in makirin as ashur. These Edom have no idea who the animal owner is. They walk in the business and say, look, we have no idea who owns this animal. This animal's been running around. So, the only interest they can have here is to make him a muad. Sorry, I mixed it up. Sorry. They know who owns the animal. But they don't know the animal itself. Just the other way around. They know that the ox that gored in their presence, or so they claim, belonged to Reuven. But now they no longer recognize, they have no idea where the ox is. So Rashi explains. We all know that a shur tam pays me gufay, right? At most you can grab the animal, or you can demand to collect payment as much as the animal's worth. When the animal's gone, then you have no place to claim your claim. As opposed to a muad, for which the owner has to pay from his own pocket, right? So, if they can't point to the animal, then their testimony is absolutely no good. No point, no benefit with respect to a shur tam. Right? Because shur tam is Mishal Migufa, he's not here. So, the only interest they could possibly have by coming to Bezdin today is knowing that there's a muad running around, in which case the owner has to pay from his pocket. So they can't claim, oh, well, we had no idea he's going to be a muad. Why are you coming to Bezdin if he's not a muad? So you got them there. Says the but then the question is just technically, if they have no idea who the animal is, how can they even make him a muad? What are they telling the owner? Watch what? The Amri, they tell him, there is a wild animal amongst your bakar, amongst your in your herd. Go watch everybody. That's a valid warning. Oh, the bottom line is we have various shittas with respect to becoming a muad, to becoming ois muad. We have one shita, another shita, and we have sort of two shitas that sort of cross over between the Rameh and Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shal had a paskin. Then we discussed this concept of spacing. Is it for the shor or for the owner? And we left it as a question mark. Continues the Gemara. Here comes a new shayla. Person takes a dog and he enrages him and gets him to bite somebody. Mao, who's responsible? Meshasa badi potter. The one who instigated the animal is potter, because it's a groma. Groma ben Azakan is potter. He was gorim. But Bal Kelev Mai. What about the dog owner? Mi Amrinan, shall we say Motzi Amrle? The owner can say, look, what do you want from me? I know my avidnale. What did I do to my dog? I didn't. Right? I'm not responsible. I Dilma or Amrinale, we can tell him Kima diyadas bekalbuch. Well, you know your animal's nature. The mishasli mishtasi. Not every animal allows himself to be instigated. Yours does, right? Right? We instigate him and he goes wild. You shouldn't have kept him around. You should have kept him under leash. So is he responsible or not? Amar Ravashi, Amar B'Zeiru Tashma is right. Mishnah says, how do you lose your mod status? Right? V'tam sheyu tenoika is memashman boy v'ein negech. Okay, so the kids play with him and he's okay. Ha negech chayiv. Let's make a deal. Apparently, if the kids sort of, play with him and he, responds violently, then the animal owner is chayiv. So you see that in this type of situation, the owner is chayiv, even though he was sort of triggered by the kids. Amar Abayis says, no. Who says miktani noga chayiv? Who says the Mishnah means to say that if he was negech in response to the kids, handling, the owner would be chayiv? Who says? It's the kid's fault, not his. Maybe the Mishnah just means like this: if the animal responds violently to these kids, he does not become a tam. He doesn't lose the muad status. He doesn't get a clean bill. But it doesn't mean that he's responsible for that negicha. You can have it both ways. He's not chayiv to pay for it because the kids get him going, but ultimately he didn't show extra restraint and patience, so that does not undo his muad status. So you have no raya. Tashma is another raya. Shisa boy is kelev. Shisa boy nachash pater. If one sicks a dog against somebody or a snake, he's pater. My love pater mishasa v'chay bal kelev. We're assuming the mishasa who did it, the one who instigated the animal, is pater, but the owner of the animal is chayiv for leaving the animal around, for enabling this. So the more like ema pater af mishasa. Maybe it means the animal owner is pater, and also the mishasa, which is a bigger chiddush because he actually instigated it. They're both pater. Amarava im timtzalei ma mishasa kabo shechaver b'chaver chayiv. On the tzad that you say that if somebody does this to a dog, the owner is chayiv, but she's so hu ba'atzmei pater. But let's say this poor guy was instigating the dog, and the dog turned on him and bit him. Pater. The owner is chayiv. Pater. The animal owner in this case is pater. You know why? What are you doing? Starting with my dog. My time. I'll call him a shana, a person who deviates, who acts, irresponsibly, such as this fellow who was teasing the dog. Somebody else goes and hits him and deviates on him. He's pater. What are you doing? You're enabling this. Itmar, you should know. I have a riot to you. Itmar mishmei Rish Lakish. I have a riot from Rish Lakish like you. He told us a similar halacha. Damar Rish Lakish. This is the story we had the other day. Shtei pars b'shus rab. Imagine two animals in the street, two cows. One is crouched, one is walking. You have no business parking in the street, right? So the one walking along, policeman for the day, he kicks the other one. Get going, go, and he harms him. He's pater. You have no business sitting in the street. But the one crouching strikes the one walking, he's chayev. So you see this concept that if you're mishana, if you deviate, then at your own risk. So Rava responds, well, actually, not necessarily a good connection. Actually, even though I held that when a person instigates a dog and gets hurt by the dog owner is pater. In this case, with the two animals in the street, in that case, I would actually hold the crouched para responsible for kicking the other one. Why? Because we can turn to the owner of the para. Sort of, we're addressing the animals themselves. We can tell the So one second, so Rav is saying that in this case, if the one that's walking, the part that's walking kicks the one that's crouching, would be chayiv. Okay, that's what he's saying. Why? Because we can turn to the animal who'll kick the other one sitting there. The one sitting can turn to the one walking and kicking him and tell him like this: look, you have permission to walk, and perhaps to walk all over me if you want. I'm in the street. Fine. Walk normally, that's good. But to kick me? Who gives you right to kick me? So basically, Rabbi is sort of disagreeing. Even though when it comes to the dog, instigating the dog, and the dog turns on this instigator, the owner is pater, because you sort of brought it upon yourself. Fine. But in the case of the two para, he says, Rabbi, not so quick. Not necessarily is it true that you have a right to kick the one sitting there. Resh Lakish says, you're pater, but Rabbi perhaps we can actually disagree on that. Okay, let's leave the Mishnah, which is actually the beginning of the next sugya, Be'ez Hashem, for tomorrow. Quickly, let's summarize. We have the Gemara of the animal turns into a muad, and then if he behaves exceptionally well, it turns into a tam. We have 4 shitas in terms of how that happens. When we speak about 3 negichas in 3 days, as we read the shita, what's the purpose? Is it to establish the track record of the animal, or is it to give the owner some time to put himself together? We have the nafkaminos. If the 3 adiyos came on the same day and informed them about 3 days of rampaging, so in terms of the shur, it's established, but in terms of the owner, you haven't given him a chance. That will be nafkamina. We tried to figure it out, and we did not really resolve on that. We had a discussion regarding instigating an animal who is chayiv in which case. Okay, all the best to you, and atzlacha rabba.